Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The auction platform smelled like hot metal, oil, and fear. Jax Hale stood at the edge of the crowd, hands buried in the pockets of his patched jacket, watching another life get priced like broken machinery. He had seen this place too many times before. The fringe markets never changed. Rusted lights, armed guards, buyers pretending not to care. Jax told himself he was only here for parts. His ship, the Wayfarer, needed a new power relay. Without it, she would never survive another long jump. Jax had just enough credits for scrap-grade equipment if he negotiated hard and didn't look desperate. He was already turning away when the guards dragged the last item onto the platform. The crowd went quiet. Not interested quiet, uncomfortable quiet. The prisoner was tall, taller than any human. Her limbs were long and sharp in a way that made the eye slide away, like the mind refused to fully accept her shape. Her skin was dark blue, almost black, marked with thin lines of pale light that ran across her arms and neck like frozen fire. Energy cuffs locked around her wrists and throat. Military grade. Jax frowned. That alone made no sense. Fringe slavers didn't waste suppression tech on normal prisoners. The alien didn't struggle. She didn't lower her head. She stood perfectly still, eyes forward, as if the platform was beneath her notice. The auctioneer cleared his throat. Lot 79, he announced. Unregistered hostile species, captured near restricted space. No identity records, no legal protection. A ripple moved through the crowd. Unregistered meant dangerous. Restricted space meant military trouble. Jax felt a cold knot form in his stomach. Someone laughed nervously. "What does it do?" a buyer called out. The auctioneer shrugged. Survived a full cruiser destruction. Killed 12 boarding soldiers before containment. That wiped the smiles away. The alien finally moved, just a small turn of her head. Her eyes were bright silver, calm and sharp. She looked bored. "Opening bid," the auctioneer continued, clearly eager to be done. 20 credits. No one raised a hand. 20 credits for a monster was still too much if it brought warships down on your head. The guards shifted. One of them jabbed the alien with a shock prod. She didn't flinch. Jax swallowed. He didn't know why his heart was pounding. He had seen worse things than this. He had survived battlefields, burning stations, and the slow death of hope after the war ended. This wasn't his problem. 10 credits, someone muttered as a joke. Laughter followed, the auctioneer sighed. 10 credits, he repeated. The alien turned her head then, slowly. Her gaze swept the crowd and stopped on Jax. It felt like being seen through. Jax's fingers twitched. He thought of his sister, of the escape pod drifting empty, of promises that didn't mean anything once space decided otherwise. 11, Jax said. The word escaped before he could stop it. Head snapped toward him. "What?" someone hissed. The auctioneer blinked. 11 credits from the human. Jax's mouth was dry. He raised his chin. "That's what I said." A bulky trader stepped forward, eyes narrow. "You want that thing? You trying to get yourself killed?" "Maybe," Jax replied. 12. The crowd erupted. "Are you insane? That's a war crime waiting to happen. Let him have it then." No one else bid. They never would. The auctioneer slammed the console. Sold 12 credits. Just like that, the most dangerous thing in the market belonged to a broke human mechanic. The guards shoved her forward. Jax transferred the credits, nearly everything he had. The ownership tag flashed green. Temporary custody. The alien looked down at him. Up close she was terrifying in a quiet way. No rage, no fear, just attention. "Why?" she asked. Her voice was calm, flat, almost curious. Jax reached for the suppression controls on the cuffs. The guards stiffened. "Don't," one warned, "Shield." "I know," Jack said. He unlocked them anyway. The energy fields faded with a soft whine. The alien inhaled slowly, like someone tasting air after a long time underwater. She didn't attack. The crowd backed away. Jax's heart hammered so hard he thought it might crack his ribs. "I don't sell people," he said, "even dangerous ones." She studied his face. "You are afraid." "Yeah," he admitted, "but I did it anyway." That seemed to interest her. "What do you want from me, human?" Jax shrugged. "Nothing, you're free, or as close as this place allows." She was silent for a long moment. "Freedom," she repeated, as if testing the word. "Purchased for scrap money." 12 credits, Jax corrected. "I overpaid." Something like confusion flickered in her eyes. "Come on," he said, turning away, "before someone changes their mind." She followed. The Wayfarer was docked 3 levels down, wedged between a fuel hauler and a half-dismantled freighter. She was old, ugly, held together by weld lines and stubborn repairs. The alien stopped at the ramp. "This vessel is inadequate," she said. Jack snorted. "She flies." They entered the cargo bay. Tools lined the walls. Spare parts hung from hooks. The place smelled like oil and recycled air. "Crew quarters are through there," Jack said. "It's small, but it's yours." She turned slowly. "You give me space, food, safety." "Yeah. And you expect nothing." "I expect you won't tear my ship apart," he said. "That's about it." She considered him. "You are either foolish," she said, "or you do not understand what I am." "Probably both." A pause. "My name," she said finally, "is Erales." Jax nodded. Jax Hale. Days passed. They didn't talk much at first. Erales watched him work, always silent, always close. She moved without sound, appearing at his shoulder when he least expected it. Jax didn't ask questions. He had learned some stories came out only when they were ready. On the 3rd day, alarms chirped softly. Erales straightened. "We are being scanned." Jax froze. "By who?" She walked to the cockpit, eyes already distant. Military vessels, not local. Jax's blood went cold. 3 ships emerged on the display, sleek, black, armed. "Her people." "They found me," Erales said quietly. Jax's hands moved without thought. Engines, course, calculations. "Can we run?" he asked. "No." "Then we hide." He plotted a course toward dead space, toward an iron cloud he knew too well. The ships followed. Lasers grazed the Wayfarer's shields. The hull groaned. Erales gripped the console. "You should surrender me." Jax shook his head. "Not happening." "You will die." "Maybe," he said, "but not alone." The Wayfarer plunged into the storm. Sensors failed. Warnings screamed. Jax flew by memory, by instinct, by pure human refusal to quit. At last, silence. The enemy ships vanished from sensors, forced to pull back. They were hidden, but trapped. Erales turned to him. "They will wait." Jax leaned back, exhausted. "So will we." She studied him, really studied him. "Why?" she asked again. "Why do this?" Jax looked at the stars, beyond the cracked viewport. "Because someone once didn't," he said softly, "and I've been trying to make up for it ever since." Outside, the enemy fleet waited. Inside, a human and the galaxy's most dangerous prisoner sat together in a broken ship. And for the first time in years, neither of them felt completely alone. The iron storm did not sleep. It rolled and twisted around the Wayfarer like a living thing, blue and violet lightning crawling across the void. Inside the asteroid hollow, the ship sat dark and quiet, engines cold, systems barely alive. Jax Hale lay awake in the cockpit chair, staring at the cracked viewport. He had survived wars. He had survived loss. Waiting had always been harder. "They are still there," Erali said softly behind him. He did not jump anymore when she appeared. He had learned her rhythm, the way she moved like thought rather than flesh. "How long can they wait?" he asked. "Indefinitely," she replied. "They are patient hunters. My people believe time itself is a weapon." Jax rubbed his face. Figures. Days passed. They rationed food. Water was recycled down to the last drop. Jax worked constantly, patching micro-fractures in the hull, rerouting power, whispering encouragement to the ship like it could hear him. Erali's watched. Sometimes she helped, handing him tools before he asked. Sometimes she just sat nearby, silver eyes tracking every movement. On the 7th day, she spoke again. "You should surrender me." Jax didn't look up. "No. You cannot win," she said. "You are one ship, they are an empire." Jax tightened a bolt. "I'm not trying to win." She frowned. "Then what are you trying to do?" "Stay human." That made her pause. "Explain." Jax finally turned to face her. His eyes were tired but steady. "I spent years following orders, doing what made sense on paper, and every time someone else paid the price. I'm done with that." "You would choose death over obedience." "I'd choose choice," he said. "There's a difference." She studied him, as if he were a puzzle that refused to fit her understanding of reality. "My people would call that illogical," she said. "Yeah," Jax replied, "we get that a lot." On the 10th day, the message arrived. It cut through the interference like a blade. "Erali's of House Kale," the voice said, cold, formal, male. "You are ordered to surrender yourself. The human will be spared." Erali's closed her eyes. Jax felt something twist in his chest. "Don't answer," he said. She opened her eyes. "You heard him, you would live." "Not like that. They will destroy this ship. Then they'll have to work for it." She stepped closer. "You are not my species, this is not your war." Jax met her gaze. "Someone once told me that letting bad things happen because they weren't my problem was logical. I didn't like who I became after that." Silence filled the cockpit. Then Erali's did something unexpected. She knelt. Not in submission, in resolve. "There is another way," she said. "One my brother believes impossible." Jax raised an eyebrow. "I like impossible." "My people are bound by ancient law," she continued. "A blood challenge, rare, dangerous, public." "What does it do?" "It forces truth into the open," she said. "And truth is the one thing my brother fears." Jax exhaled slowly. "And what's the catch?" "I must broadcast my claim," she said. "They will be forced to escort us to the core world, to trial." "Us?" She nodded. "You are my witness. By our law, no claim is valid without one who stands freely beside the challenger." Jax laughed softly. "Of course." "If you come," she said carefully, "you will be placing yourself at the center of an empire that considers your species insignificant." Jax leaned back in the chair, eyes drifting to the stars beyond the storm. "Been insignificant my whole life," he said. "Didn't stop me yet." She looked at him, something like warmth breaking through her calm. "Very well," she said. "Then we do this together." The broadcast went out 1 hour later. Erali stood before the comm array, posture straight, voice clear despite the interference. She spoke words older than the empire itself. "I, Erali's of House Kale, blooded heir, invoke the right of return. I accuse the throne of betrayal, murder, and unlawful erasure. I demand judgment before the people." The response was immediate. The hunter ships powered down their weapons. Acknowledgement codes flashed across the screen. "They cannot touch us now," she said, "not without breaking their own law." Jax grinned. "Never underestimate paperwork." The journey to the core world took 6 days. 6 days under escort by warships that could erase the wayfarer with a thought. 6 days where Jax learned about Erales' people, their rigid logic, their fear of emotion, their belief that strength meant control. And 6 days where Erales learned about humans, about laughter in bad situations, about fixing things instead of discarding them, about choosing kindness even when it costs something. The core world rose before them like a jewel and a blade. Silver cities, towering spires, millions watching. The trial was broadcast across the empire. Erales spoke first. She spoke of her father's death, of lies hidden behind tradition, of being erased not because she was weak but because she refused cruelty. Her brother spoke next. He spoke of order, of necessity, of sacrifice for the greater good. The council listened. But the people listened harder. They saw the scars on Erales' skin. They saw the human standing beside her, unarmed, unbowed, equal. Whispers spread. On the second day, protests filled the lower cities. On the third, soldiers refused orders. When her brother tried to silence her, the chamber erupted. The empire cracked. By dawn, it was over. The throne stood empty. Erales was offered the crown. She refused. "I do not want to rule by fear," she said. "I want to rebuild what was broken." The council agreed. Reforms were signed, slavery outlawed, borders opened. The galaxy shifted. Later in the gardens overlooking the city, Jax watched alien suns set behind crystal towers. "You could stay," Erales said softly beside him. "Help shape something new." Jax smiled. "I'm better with engines than empires." She took his hand. "You shaped me." He squeezed back. "You did the hard part." The Wayfarer left orbit days later. A small ship, departing a changed world. As Jax set course for the fringe, Erales stood beside him, not a prisoner, not a weapon, but something rarer. A partner. Humanity did not conquer the galaxy that day. They didn't need to. They simply refused to stop being human. And sometimes that was enough to change everything. The end.